I hope some of y'all went and got a gun. Because fighting these folks with words ain't gonna do it. Y'all let a white South African man who's not even a citizen of these United States take over your federal government. Y'all let it be that easy. Ooh, shame on you. He's in charge of your U.S. Treasury Department. He knows how much money the United States has and doesn't have. He's in there putting new technology to make sure none of you are able or even smart enough to undo what he is doing. You scream and holler about people being citizens of the United States, and you just allowed a non-citizen on an HB1 visa to do whatever he wants to you. I hope you went and got yourself a gun. Because these people obviously do not love the Constitution of the United States. Which more likely means they don't like that Second Amendment, let alone that 14th Amendment. I hope you went and got yourself a gun. The South said it would rise again. Get a bag, get a bag, get a bag. Propaganda is the use of language to get an audience to further something or someone's agenda. And the U.S. citizen can't help but to be propagandized. Perhaps we work too much. Maybe we're too busy allowing other people to tell us how we think instead of being full of confidence. And we allow others to get into our head and make it so that we can't think for ourselves. Hence, as to why I say the U.S. citizen is the dumbest motherfucker on the planet. Each person born has a bottomless pit. No matter where you're born on this planet, you have been given that. We here in the United States, because we've been propagandized. Suddenly, we need everything to make us feel better. Everything. Oh, you're not in a relationship anymore? You guys broke up? Or you want to rent a movie and eat a whole quart of ice cream or sit down with a whole box of bonbons? Yeah, fill yourself up with shit that's going to make you overweight. Go right ahead. Eat that. And don't be surprised when you get to the bottom and you realize you ate it all. It's all gone. This behavior is expected from a pregnant woman, not a non-pregnant woman or a man for that matter. But for some strange reason, the food industry or scientists have figured out What would make you eat the entire carton of ice cream? All the bonbons in that carton, plus more if you had another one. What would make you sit down and never recognize this is a bad idea to be putting all of this sugar into my body? I'm curious. Seriously, I am. What would make a person do that? Emotions? Well, that'll make you cry sometimes, but it won't make you sit down at a table and eat the whole frickin' tomahawk steak. Are you for real? You don't know what's in that animal. You don't know what it was fed. Oh, they said they grain fed it, but did they give them steroids? If that animal had steroids, then more likely you're ingesting those exact same steroids. And exactly what kind of steroids were they given? Antibiotic or corticosteroids? Or do animals need different steroids? And why were we ingesting these same steroids? What do you think this is doing to a human's body? Can anyone answer that question? If they were feeding them steroids, don't you think they were also giving them antibiotics? And our bodies was ingesting that same antibiotics? I mean, this isn't new, right? But since the Republican women have taken an issue with these cereal companies and how much sugar they're putting in to the morning breakfast of their children, now all of a sudden it's, oh my God, we've got to do something. Well, where were you when Wu Tang Clan was talking about this in the early 90s? Where were you when the liberals were questioning? What are they doing to our food? What are they putting into our food? You weren't curious then? You didn't care then? But all of a sudden you care now. It took you damn near 34 years to figure out what everybody else was talking about. And nobody's telling you to go vegan. Nobody's telling you to go vegetarian. Like the other side, they have an agenda. But your side, the conservative side, the Republican side, has an agenda to deregulate. And that deregulation usually and only affects people in the middle or poor classes. Why? Because the rich folks, they won't dare allow their children to eat cereal in the morning. Are you crazy? They won't dare. They won't dare eat an animal that has been injected or fed with steroids or antibiotics. They know this shit isn't good for them. They know it. All of the people who have money, they tell you how bad your healthcare system is. Or better yet, how much they don't trust it. That's why they don't like to use it. They knew before Obamacare how bad it was. Well, all of the people who have a crap load of money, they won't use the same healthcare system as you. They'll go see some freaking guru in India while you're sitting here using the United States healthcare that they told you was terrible. But here you had a president who was trying to make it better for you. And you spat in his face with your racism. And you told him you didn't like Obamacare because the Republican Party told you to not like Obamacare, even though they named it Obamacare. Don't tell anybody that you don't enjoy being propagandized when you do. You're coming back to the people 34 years later, and you're saying, not that you made a mistake. Oh no, you can never do that. You can never apologize for your foolishness, for your parents' foolishness, or anything else that happened before you because you weren't around for it, but suddenly you are around for it. It was the liberals who forced the federal government or your state government to tell us what was in the food. The conservatives weren't concerned about it. You ever wonder why that is? You ever wonder why the liberals want to push the idea of fascism? Do you ever question why people push agendas on you? Why does the right-wing media want you to get out of your union? They don't tell the police to get out their union, and the police never get out their union. Professional athletes never demolish their union either, regardless of the sport they play in. You ever wonder why that is? Why can't Fox News or your right-wing radio station convince professional athletes to break their union? Why can't they convince police officers to break their unions? But they got you to do that to your union. And I don't mean to harp on what is done to the union by the media, because the same is done on both sides. Everybody that's a Republican is a fascist on the left. Why don't people talk to one another anymore? Why can't a right-wing Republican talk to a left-wing liberal? Why did you have to stop reading your newspaper? Why did you have to stop receiving knowledge from others that are different from you? But it was a good idea to only listen to people on the right. It doesn't sound smart. Why did you stop educating yourself? It doesn't sound wise. Why did they want to get rid of TikTok? A place where young and old were making, what they say, $20,000, $50,000 a month? Why don't they want that for the American people? Because the more of us that use that become rich, that make that kind of money, we won't want to pay our taxes. Knowing that you're not cheap labor, that means you ain't a slave. This is why the police won't get out their unions. This is why the professional athletes won't break their unions. This is why nobody who's an actor or an actress or a writer will ever break their unions. But these folks in the media, for a certain, party, want you to break that and break yourself. I guess some people got tired of being slaves. Some people got tired. And some people didn't enjoy their enslavement. So they decided to do what was best for them, even though that seems crazy for most, which is to spit at that Constitution and not like it because they outgrew it or they saw it was never for them. But as long as you live here in these United States, you should do your best to abide by the rules so you can keep what it is that you have. Because Lord knows, you never know what you got until it's gone. The South has risen. This episode of Sluts, Pedophiles, Rebels, and Light Blue Employees for Hire was recorded by me. It was executive produced by me. It was written by me. Original sound by me. Who am I? Fetch. For Fetch Productions. Make sure you join me next week for the last installment of sluts, pedophiles, rebels, and some light blue employees for hire. Make sure you listen anywhere you get your podcasts. U.S. car makers are having a difficult time selling electric cars to Americans, but Tesla's having no problem selling to Americans. Self hatred, yeah.